what always excites me, changing, not just bringing a product to a sector, to a vertical, not just that, but actually changing the habits, the buying habits of somebody in that industry with a product. It is the coolest thing you can do.
Where did you work before you worked in cannabis?
Every major shoe brand.
Yeah.
So my most recent project was Hoka.
Yeah.
Hoka 11 is what it used to be called.
You were the reason that they became huge.
No, not at all, actually. But I am the reason. I will take credit for the growth of the Los Angeles territory.
But that's the most important.
Yeah, when I got it, it was like, I think my book of business, because your job in like athletics is to land and expand. That's like, you're never just like net new business, which is SaaS, right? SaaS is like net new. But so it's way more. You have to talk to your customers all the time. Your account manager, you have to be available all the time. They place like big orders, but then they come back, and throughout the year they place all kinds of at-once orders. So you're just like going. You have a busy season, and you go.
And independent shoe stores, big shoe stores, like
so
all of it.
This is the reason why cannabis was such an easy transition for me, because it's, at the end of the day, it is brick and mortar. It's brick and mortar retail.
Knocking on doors.
And which is like, in any other industry, everyone would consider it like the most dying industry there is.
Right.
I mean, the challenge, the fight for online is like aggressive. And it's like, there's so much tension, there's so much, like, there are online only shoe retailers that are at complete odds with brick and mortar, local, family owned shops.
Well, the one based in Las Vegas. Southwest is here.
Yeah. But so my biggest customers, so I supported like REI and Zappos and Nordstrom, and trying to land a shoe that was like not attractive but very comfortable was really difficult in Nordstrom. But when I got my territory, it was like something like 800,000, and when I left, it was over 4 million in 2 years. So, but I can't even. That's just diligent work, right? The more you go visit them, the more you're in front of them, the more you take out their employees, the more you spiff their employees to pull your shoes, like that, you get rewarded for that. But the marketing and like the go-to-market strategy that I learned at Hoka from, seriously, some of the best, most inspirational marketing people I've ever worked with, I still use today. Like, it's like, it was brilliant what they did. They took something completely not attractive and made it a sensation. Like, how do you do that?
It is a sensation.
I was going to say, speaking of unattractive, the On shoes, they're ugly, but I love them.
So On actually launched almost the same year as Hoka.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah. And it was the two most disruptive brands.
Yeah.
And do you know why the bubbles are like that?
No,
do you know
I have no idea, but I like them.
This is one of my favorite stories. So we were really close with their team because we were both trying to do something that no one else has done, which is knock Nike and Adidas and Asics off the 1, 2, 3 wall of a run specialty store.
Right.
That has not been done in 40 years. Like, that 1, 2, 3 has not changed.
But you were successful. I mean, it's...
Well, but so they told us about their technology of their shoe. Those little bubbles, he got the idea. This is seriously coming from like the inventor of the shoe. He was gardening one day outside, and he stepped on a hose, and the hose kind of like cushioned him and sprung back. And he was like, wait a minute, what if I design a midsole? And the reason why our two companies were so friendly is because we redesigned a midsole. No one had redesigned a midsole. It was the same 3 pieces, a hard piece in the middle, EVA on the outside, like same stuff over and over and over. There's like, do you know in a lot of old Brooks and Asics, there's an actual like wooden rod through the middle of the shoe for stability.
Yeah.
That's how they made shoes. And we came in and said, you don't need anything else, you just need foam. And they came in and said, you don't need anything else, you just need these garden hoses.
And they're great.
That's kind of mean to say, but
honestly,
they're doing exceptional. And some of their professional athletes, which is one of the ways you really, really accelerate things, which we've learned over and over again in cannabis too, is you put the big names behind it, right?
Right.
And that On made some excellent decisions on athletes early on. I mean, some of their athletes were in the Olympics.
Isn't Roger Federer there, like an investor?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Part owner.
And they did the best job. So the problem with Hoka was we couldn't cross over from run specialty for like years. It was really difficult.
I wore them when my back hurt.
You wear them?
Yeah, I love them.
They're
also
the best.
made me taller.
Yeah.
They're the I know.
It's like two birds, one stone.
No. Where you're? So I'll tell you which model to get. Get the Bondi, the big one. Like we had people all the time coming up to us like, I want to look really tall. I'm like, here you go.
My mother-in-law also wears them.
Okay. There's an REI right over here. I used to support.
My mother-in-law also wears them. Which I don't know if it's good or bad.
Everybody does now.
They also sell them in Marshalls, bar Marshalls.
Yeah.
In Canada, but they're expensive still.
Okay, so
like
that
over
was one of the
$100.
secrets.
Yeah.
That is one of that because On came in with like almost the same price point as like Adidas, right? They went with like this like accessible price point, really high price point, or like middle of the road price point. All of Hoka's shoes were more expensive than the top 3 brands on the wall. Every single one was $20 more, which you and I both know because of retail, that means more money in people's pockets.
Right.
So the retailers were like, tell me how to sell this shoe so I can make more money.
Right.
And we gave them extra points on wholesale and all kinds of, which I know you and I have talked about for so long, but like this industry we haven't even like scratched the surface on some of this stuff. Okay. It's so new. It's so like.
The words that I pulled from all of this, disruptive.
Yeah.
You said the word boring. That's like, but
we consider it boring.
Yes,
we've been doing this forever.
But talk about what you're doing now, because it is an essential service, essential software, essential sort of behind the scenes tech that every cannabis business needs.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah. So we're doing payroll and HR and benefits and a full suite of like basically like an HCM's full all-in-one suite. And I've been at a couple companies in this industry already, and what always excites me, from you can tell from my background and everything, is what you said is like changing, not just bringing a product to a sector, to a vertical, not just that, but actually changing the habits, the buying habits of somebody in that industry with a product. Mm-hmm. It is the coolest thing you can do. It's the most exciting. And of course, cannabis is full of all kinds of different avenues where you can do that. But, you know, I definitely put in my time with point of sale and e-commerce, and it was really exciting, and it was really disruptive what we were trying to do. We were really trying to do something different. But then it kind of became oversaturated, and you know, everybody was trying to get ahead in the same way. So when I was looking for like my next challenge, I joke all the time that payroll and HR was like, I think of it in software as the last frontier. It is like literally the last frontier, because if you look at the landscape, it's only a few companies that are doing really well, which is interesting, which is how point of sale started out. There's really only a few doing really well. And the other thing is they're all resellers or white labels or really large companies that don't care at all about this industry and just are predatory and are Xing their prices.
Green tax.
Right.
Green tax. And then obviously not even supporting the people, which if any industry needs hand-holding, like not, and this is not like a negative thing, but this is a new thing we're trying to do. New challenges, people that are new to business, new to paying taxes. I mean, it's really like, the amount of people I've met in this industry that said, hey, why don't I go get a license? Why don't I go start my own? I could do that. And they did. And they're thriving. I mean, you know, there's challenges, of course, but, you know, the industry as a whole is just all entrepreneurs, if you think about it. I mean, I say that as I'm looking around to all these huge companies, but this is new. Like, this is only, what, 3 years old?
Yeah. And even those people you just described as like wanted to start a business or came from the legacy market, wanted to get licensed, all those things. There's a lot of emphasis getting to day zero, like getting to opening. Yeah. And then the hard part starts. Very few people think of it like that, but then the reality hits. And that's when tools, good business operations actually make a difference.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell a new operator, a new license holder, somebody's from the legacy market, that you should think about every price point. You should think about the fixed cost of everything. Yes. Right? Like you shouldn't go into payroll and HR and be like, oh, I just need it to do this. I don't care how much it costs. That's not, at one day, you're going to have to face the fact that that's a number you're going to have to look at. Right. And you can't just look at that number. You have to look at how many HR people do you need to approve timesheets? How many payroll people do you need to approve payroll And how many HR compliance people do you need to keep people on track with trainings and state regulations, federal regulations, and local regulations? How many people do you need? And what is your payroll company? What gaps are they filling? How does the software help you be more efficient? Like, you don't have to spend 4 or 5 hours running payroll. Our payroll is 3 clicks.
Right.
The longest, we tell people all the time, people get sold on really expensive, let us run payroll for you, which of course we do run payroll for people too. We offer that as well. But it really is like 4 hours of work every other week.
Wow.
And the longest time that takes is approving the timesheets.
Right.
Like, it shouldn't, but all the software that's out there, like a lot of the resellers and white labels are of older systems that are not, I would say adjusted to the new trends that are happening. There's a lot of stuff happening with tax and payroll and benefits and HR.
And how is that complicated more in the cannabis industry? Those new things?
See, that's what I think is the most bizarre thing. I really don't think it is.
Right.
I know I should be saying, yeah, we have unique challenges here. We do have some unique challenges, but a lot of them are on regulation.
Right.
So if we get some sort of movement, and be able to write off our employees' costs and things like that, it changes the available capital, but then it changes how profitable you can become.
Right.
It shouldn't change like, oh, now we're we're descheduled, we're rescheduled, we're whatever, right? Insert whatever thing we're hoping for this MJBizCon, right? And it's really exciting, but at the same time, it's like every single time that you get to save that money, you should be putting it back into the business or becoming more profitable or charging towards black, like.
Right.
But instead, they think, oh, I can spend a little extra money here to not hire an HR person or something, or I can people get excited about being a PEO in cannabis, which we sell actually to cannabis and non-cannabis, so we get to hear everything across the board. Law firms, hospitality, restaurant chains, we're 2 fast food restaurant chains payroll, right? We have some cannabis companies that own cannabis operations and pizza shops.
Right, both, right?
Like both. So we get to see it all.
Good neighbors, by the way.
There's really...
It's true.
I have a funny story about a pizza shop, actually. We'll talk about it later. But no, it's just, it's really the same. It's really the same. And
so you're like, why pay more? Why not work with someone who understands the industry?
Why let somebody tell you that you need something that you don't?
Right.
And this was the same theme early days in point of sale and e-commerce too. It's like misinformation is wild. It's a wild thing in cannabis because we are a small community. This is our community. We're all right here.
Right.
This is it pretty much. And we all talk to each other. We all read each other's news. We consume a lot of information in this industry, more so than I would say,
Most industries.
I don't know, any other industry. Maybe because we're coming alive
but
right now.
There's always new stuff. There's new
always
news,
new stuff, always more stuff to learn.
Right.
And you can come into this industry and say, hey, look, you need this.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to be like, I do.
Right.
And then be like, you should do this too.
Yes.
And they're like, I need that too. And then all of a sudden, half the industry's on POs and you're like, wait, do you know that if you're not on a PO, you actually get a file for some federal credits or state credits for offering benefits to your employees or doing this or doing that? You don't get that if you're on a PO.
You got to talk to Lilley.
All you hear is, I don't have any liability. That's all you hear.
Right.
But those employees are actually not your employees when you're on PO.
Right.
So, but it's just one thing, and this is one of the things I like about being part of UZIO and bringing like a traditional, or I would say a new technology SaaS in payroll to this industry is any opportunity I have to be there's more than one way to look at this, right? Who doesn't want to do that?
Right.
It's awesome.
Lilley, I don't have the date right now, but you and I and us are going to do a webinar.
Okay.
In the first Q1 of next year.
We are.
We're going to be talking about a lot of these things. We'll send an email to everybody. We email every single day on cultivated.news to let them know when we're going to do it. But you'll be able to come in. We'll do a deeper dive. We'll answer a bunch of questions. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about it. And I see new payroll and new things coming into this industry all the time, and I love it.
Yeah.
The more we have, the better competition is going to be, and the best systems will rise to the top. I love it. Start it all over again. You know?
I like it. Look, if get Lilley fired up about HR, payroll, and
know, right?
It's like, it's pretty good.
Definitely, I always say it's the sexiest thing I've ever sold. And I sold Hoka, which was not
that's
sexy.
right. Well, we appreciate you coming by. We look forward to your partnership over the next couple of months. And thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You got it.
Thank you.
Yeah.